Hello, welcome to the Human Liberty Show. I'm Mark Reinhardt. Before we begin the program, I want to first tell you what this show is all about. As a person who has been a part of the disability independent living movement, I learned that the movement itself became more about a one-sided version of independence. It even went as far as interdependence. I thought, wait a minute, interdependence? Wasn't this movement supposed to be about independence? Then as I grew older, I realized that independent living was not just for the disabled. This is what this show will be about, and how you and those who are disabled can together empower yourselves to be less dependent. In an enlightened society, we help those who can't help themselves, and we help each other. This was a part of the mentality of the Great Society program under the Lyndon Johnson administration. It was, in effect, a war on poverty. However, years after the initiation of Medicare and Medicaid, it's now become institutional poverty. In the words of Thomas Sowell, "You are subsidizing people to fail." While his words ring true to a great extent, where will people with disabilities go? The answer is right back into institutions where their natural right of movement is curtailed due to the fact they have a disability. So what would that mean for you, the taxpayer? You will end up footing the bill to take care of them. One estimate that I have heard many times is $1,000 a day. Think about that for a moment. $1,000 a day. $1,000 of your tax money is going to be spent on institutions, emergency room care, and treatment inside county jails, each costing thousands of dollars to house people there. Where otherwise, if you keep them living on their own, you will not have to foot as big of a bill long term. Now you may be thinking, this guy sounds like a left-winger. In fact, I am a liberty-oriented realist. A person who, while he looks at Thomas Sowell's writings, he understands that not everyone can hold down a job, or jobs being hard to come by for everyone, especially including those who have a form of disability. For those of you who don't know what Medicaid services I'm referring to, developmental therapy is a service that allows people with disabilities to learn independent living skills, such as grocery, shopping, house cleaning, finances, and other things that involve life skills. Cutting these services will in fact cost you more in tax money, since a lot have had a hard time learning on their own. What creates the need for such services, you may ask? Well, let's take a look at what usually happens with people who otherwise need the help. Imagine for a moment that you have a traumatic brain injury after an accident. Your cognitive functions are, say, very below par on normal levels. You then had to relearn the skills that you already been taught. That is where developmental services come in, since some of them have skills to reteach you how to live a normal life. If you had no help after a traumatic brain injury, you would not have human liberty to interact with society. In fact, you would be in a group home that restricts your natural right to movement. How would you be able to handle things in their care? You won't. Most people in that profession get burned out or don't even care to begin with. They will then take it out on you in tyrannical fashion, since you cannot speak for yourself under their care. As for how the service providers operate, yes, I do believe that there needs to be change in how the providers operate and are financed. Regarding how they work, usually, they get contracted through state Medicaid funds. There is, of course, a thing present in which most people don't understand. A lot of times, majority of providers have a complex of, I am the provider, you are the client, therefore I am always right. Let me ask you this. Would you, the person without a disability, tolerate this from where you work? You probably won't. Neither do people with disabilities. I say we look towards a contract between the client and the provider. Let's make an agreement between them and the taxpayer for what can be and what cannot be done. This way you have yourself a moral high ground for what the services provided will be about. Have a social worker there to make sure that the client does not get sideswiped by the provider providing services. Anyone can tell you, without a contract, you will get swindled. Deep structural changes need to be made to it, and I guarantee you, without those changes, government will be your abuser and not your fair provider. If you want to be truly liberty-oriented, at least make sure that people stay in the community so that they can contribute to society. That's it for now. If you would like to send an email message, do so at acousticfreeze@gmail.com. Feel free to send suggestions for guests for either side of the political spectrum.